Joel Diaz, boxing trainer, says Devin Haney should retire. End it all. Just go ahead and shut that down. Finish. Finito. It's over. In this video, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, break down what seems to be a very valid talking point going on in the sport of boxing regarding the defensive style. So I have a good video for you. Let's go. Boxing trainer Joel Diaz has an interview with Fight Hub TV, and he gives Devin Haney the business, specifically Devin Haney. He talks about how basically that's not like true boxing. And mind you, he's not just a trainer, he's a former fighter himself. So he definitely could speak to it from a personal firsthand experience of being a fighter. He's saying what Devin Haney did, he doesn't consider it boxing. Fans want to be entertained. And Devin Haney, if he's fighting like that, he should retire. He should hang him up, and let that be, call it a career, basically. So a lot of people, they want to know my opinion. That's why you came to the channel. Now, I'm not going to say I'm not going to agree and say Devin Haney needs to retire. I'm not going to say that. Like, not off of one showing, because, that it's a one showing, but it's also a victory. I'm not in it. If you notice, when it comes to the boxing commentary, I'm never too high and never too low. I'm not on here like screaming and yelling, and I'm like perfectly in the center. You know what I mean? So I think it's a bit irrational of a take to say that off a fight where a person won, even if it was a stinker, that at age 26, 27 or whatever Devin Haney age is, right? He's right around there, that he need to hang it up. That sounds pretty drastic. However, now there are some things that I need to mention. There are some caveats. Devin fighting how he fought, he's going to have to do better. He's going to have to refine his style. Now, I'm not saying it like I'm his parent. I'm not Bill. So I'm not saying he has to, like he must. But what I'm saying is in terms of gaining the fans back on your side, not the Haneyacks, but true boxing fans, that is going to be an uphill battle. And with the style that he showed in the fight with Jose Ramirez, is not looking too good. Now, the thing, I've already mentioned it. I made a full fight breakdown on that. Check that on the channel. The thing to me that was most startling about Devin's performance was the fact of the opponent, and that he chose to fight that way with said opponent. That to me was the thing that really stood out. So let me break that down. What do I mean? What I mean is, I could understand if he was in there with Prime Wilder, Artur Beterbiev, David Benavidez, a primed out guy that was super dangerous and giving it his all, showing crazy heart. And some fights, you just have to get the ugly win. You dig? Like, you just have to come through it, and get the W. And then you live to fight another day. But to me, the most shocking thing was you were in there with a faded Jose Ramirez, and he looked faded. To me, he definitely looked faded. He didn't look primed out or anything. And you seem very hesitant and uncomfortable with Jose Ramirez. That's what really, for me, truly stood out. The fact that you didn't seem comfortable at all with a guy that wasn't presenting, for my stance, he wasn't presenting too much of an obstacle. And you seem like you were fighting Freddy Krueger or Blade or something. Frost. That's what stood out to me. So basically, fighting like that is going to be very hard to turn over new fans. Like, people, I really don't think people are going to appreciate this newfound Devin Haney. Now, some will make excuses like, oh, this is Ryan's fault and all that, but it's Devin's career. He has to figure it out. But being realistic, the showing was definitely abysmal. It was a bad showing to me. You guys can say whatever you want, but for me, it was a bad showing. And it really, for me, it even hurt the Ryan Garcia rematch, which is shocking because everybody before this, everybody wanted to see the rematch with Ryan Garcia. But after it, they're like, I don't know that I actually need to see a rematch between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney because they both underperformed. Now, again, you could say this is making excuses or whatever. I don't care. I'm being honest. Ryan at least had the excuse or rationale after getting dropped by a power puncher who showed he can hurt Ryan. So he kind of had, to me, he had an excuse not to fight like that per se, but he had an excuse of why he was fighting like that. Like, for example, you're in there with the big puncher that can put your lights out. You got to be cautious. That's common sense. Who wants to get knocked out on national TV? So at the very least, to me, I really think Rolly gave Ryan something to think about, right? He had his right hand really protecting his temple. He was fighting calm and reserved, and he has power in both hands. Versus Devin, we never really seen Ramirez get much offense off, and he looked slower, and he just looked like he couldn't pull the trigger, and Devin chose to fight like that. The other thing is people keep confusing what Devin Haney did with like masterclass boxing. And my question to you is this: if that was masterclass boxing, what is Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo? Floyd Mayweather versus Gotti? Floyd versus Diego Corrales? If you thought what Devin did with Ramirez. Now, Devin gets the job done. He passed, but he did not pass with flying colors. And again, I've watched boxing my whole entire life. So you can't tell me that is what defense has always represented in boxing. James Toney, Winky Wright, Floyd Mayweather, Pernell Whitaker, all of these guys have impeccable defenses in their own style. But guess what? Everybody I mentioned also had an offense. That's the missing link. See, people keep quoting Cus D'Amato because he trained Mike Tyson and he's a legend of the sport. So they keep quoting it, and it's so annoying because they're doing it to save face for certain fighters like Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson. But they're missing an integral portion of that. They keep talking about the Cus D'Amato where he's like, hit, that's it. Hit and don't get hit, right? Where you can hit your opponent and they can't hit you back. The sport is hit and don't get hit. So people keep focusing on the don't get hit part, but Cus D'Amato, if you look at the quote, he said hit, but then in return, you don't get hit. That's the void. Devin Haney is throwing less than 6 punches per round averaged versus Ramirez. So you got the don't get hit part down, but the actual part that people would pay for your fight, that would make you a pay-per-view star, that would have you like finish the fight or get a knockout or, just overall entertain, that is lacking. And even in some of Shakur's fights too. You see what I'm saying? So people keep getting that confused. It's not hit, don't get hit, and that's it. If you're going to quote something, quote it entirely. The art of hit and don't get hit. Not don't get hit, and run around the ring and you don't have no offense. James Toney mastered the Philly shell, but go watch his fight with John Ruiz and Evander Holyfield, or even his loss to Roy Jones Jr. I guarantee you it's not like Devin Haney or William Skull or Shakur Stevenson. So you're missing a key component, and that's why I had to address it in this video. For more boxing content like this and breakdowns, y'all know what to do. Subscribe, hit the bell icon. To up your stream game, use my link in the description to get StreamYard.